Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronica and I run my own small business called loopingteddys, and today I'm taking you along for another market walk. We have the second market of the year today. We have already arrived at the venue, so that is why the angle is kind of weird, and we have actually already set up, which I will show you in just a second. But the market today is from 10 to 6, so quite a long market, and I've actually been to this market before, last year in the fall, and last time it was pretty profitable for me, so we will see how this same market does in the spring. I'm super excited about this market day, and I will try to take you guys along better and check in with you throughout the day. But the first thing that you will see right now is the setup, and then we will check in.
What you said before the future makes our minds up for us. I don't wanna see you fading, so can't you stay? Haunt me for a little while. Give me a chance to reconcile. The truth is in between the stories we've been telling ourselves. I wanted so badly to see the truth. I traced it back to the day I met you. Oh, to let it go, what you've always known. Cut the waves, just as you sink before you float. Every day I'm watching clocks change. I know I'll come around, as I always have. I just need to find the tracks. Oh, I just wanna feel purpose in the moment. I find myself alone again. My brothers break me down so I can be filled back up. I want so badly to see the truth. I traced it back to the day I met you. Could you let it go? What you've always known. Cut the weight now, or you'll sink until you drown.
Okay friends, so we're all the way set up now. I did forget to bring my little crates for my candle setup, which is kind of annoying because I really liked the way it looked last time, so I only brought one of them instead of the 6 that I have. So I kind of made do with the displays I had and put them up there, my wooden crates and stuff like that. So I kind of rearranged stuff there. And now we still have almost 20 minutes until the market starts, so I still need to finish up some of my wristlets that are hanging up there. I didn't finish them last night, so I need to add the little tags that I put on them. And then I brought lots of stuff to work on. Currently working on a custom order for a bunny snuggler, so the head is finished, and I brought yarn to work on the body and the ears, so we will do that today. I also brought some yarn to work on some bees because we currently only have 4 left, so that will happen. And I am displaying my scrunchies for the first time today, so we will see how those do. Yeah, it's kind of windy, which is always stressful. Also, people are already walking around, which is kind of nice compared to last week where we had to wait almost 2.5 hours until the market really started. It feels like this market might start out actually at 10, and we don't have to wait for a long time for people to actually show up. And yeah, the weather is really nice, but it's super cold. It's almost freezing today, so we will see. I hope that the sun comes around for my spot. I'm not sure how that will work out, but yeah, let's start the market. Hallo.
Okay, gut.
It is 10 and we made the first sale for a mini chick. Okay, update, it's 10:30 and we sold a big candle, which I'm super excited about. And also the sun is coming into my booth, which is awesome because it is cold. Hallo.
Hi.
Was ist das, eine kleine Schildkröte?
Was ist denn das?
Nein.
Die ist so
Nein, schau mal das an.
Genau, der Pilz kann auch ein bisschen was, wenn ihr den oben am Hut zieht, dann kann man mit dem so...
Oh mein Gott!
Genau. Genau, der Hase kann das auch. Der kann auch so ein bisschen aus der Möhre raus.
Ich folge dir auf Insta. Ich schau mal ganz fleißig, dass du
Echt? Oder? Ach,
sie hat mir den
cool.
schon mitgebracht, den habe ich zu Hause.
Ach,
Das ist
cool.
süß.
Oh mein Gott.
Und wir sehen immer, wo sie sind und, wir
Ja.
so, und jetzt hat sie gerade gesagt, schau mal, die ist da.
Ja, ich bin tatsächlich, dieses Jahr bin ich alle 4 Märkte. Also ich bin schon öfter noch da. Nee, das war so schön letztes Jahr, wo ich da war, dass ich gesagt habe, nee, ich komme dieses Jahr auf jeden Fall für alle.
Weißt du, was du bräuchtest? Eine Kuh, gell? Ja. Kühe gibt's nicht, oder?
Nee, noch nicht tatsächlich. Ich habe jetzt mal vor, welche zu machen, weil ich schon öfter mal gefragt wurde danach.
Jetzt schon wieder. Hallo?
Für euch die 3 Sachen zusammen. Braucht ihr eine Tüte oder geht's so? So, jetzt. Ich glaube, sie geht, ja. Ich muss nur einmal kurz, ich bin irgendwie heute im Kopfrechnen so schlecht. Genau, und dann sind es 20 für euch. Ja,
Wann ist denn der nächste?
am 1. Juni. Bis dahin? Genau. Bis dahin hoffe ich es, ja. Ich krieg's hin. Wie gesagt, ich wurde schon öfter gefragt, deswegen ich habe es mir gut vor. Dann ciao, schönen Sonntag.
Gerne ein Bienchen.
Ja, gerne. Brauchen Sie eine Tüte dazu?
Ja, brauchen wir nicht.
Okay, dann sind es einmal 8 €.
Also das hängt schon, sie müssen ja weit fahren.
Ja, voll.
Das letzte Mal waren sie ja eh fast ausverkauft.
Ja, voll. Das letzte Mal, da wurde ich richtig ausgeräumt. Deswegen habe ich gesagt, ich komme auf jeden Fall wieder, weil
Ja.
es ist einfach ein schöner Markt auch, muss ich ehrlich sagen.
Sie haben ja auch schöne Sachen. Also wenn man muss.
Dankeschön. Soll ich es ein bisschen einpacken?
Ja, wäre nicht schlecht. Ja. So ein Papierchen. Das ist zwar erst im August, aber das ist ja egal. Ja, du gehst der Pfingsten nicht mit, also machst du das jetzt. Meine Unterlage haben sie nicht gemacht.
Geht es so oder in die Tüte rein?
Ich würde einmal.
Ja. Gerne. Brauchst du eine Tüte dazu?
Gerne.
Ja. Dann sind es einmal 16 bei dir.
Haben die eine spezielle Füllung?
Nee, aber die sind so ein bisschen fester gestopft. Ja klar, gerne. Ja, ich mache die so ein bisschen voller, dass man die so richtig schön knautschen kann. Klar. Brauchst du eine Tüte dazu?
Ja, das wäre ganz gut.
Gerne. Genau, dann sind wir einmal 10 bei dir. Dankeschön, schönen Sonntag.
Okay, I finally have a second to check in because it has been super busy. It's currently 12. We're at around 25 sales, which is crazy. I have sold out of chicks so far. We sold 3 big candles, which I'm super excited about, and lots of other things, so pretty good market so far. I finished up my custom order, so I only have to assemble that tonight, and I'm currently working on bees since I'm running super low on those. And yeah, this is how the market is going so far.
Linda, sicher, ganz sicher.
Hallo.
Hallo. Wir würden die gerne nehmen, bitte.
Gerne. Braucht ihr eine Tüte dazu vielleicht? So, dann sind es 10 Euro bei euch. Dankeschön. Dankeschön. Zurück. Und deine kleine Ente. Dankeschön, schönen Sonntag.
Okay, so quick check-in. I'm not sure how long I can talk because it's super busy, but I'm selling out of so many items, which is crazy, but a really good market so far.
Gerne. Brauchst du eine Tüte dazu? Ich glaube, das passt nicht. Alles klar, dann sind es einmal 24 bei dir. Genau, dann einmal vorhalten oder oben reinstecken. Ja, das hört sich ganz gut an. Wunderbar. Dann sitzen die beiden hier oben. Ja, perfekt. Vielen Dank. Und dann danke dir. Dankeschön. Hallo. Ist hier alles so süß? Genau, gerne auch dran schnuppern und schlupfen lassen. Hallo.
Ganz süß.
Du hast dich schon entschieden? Gerne.
Nicht, aber mal so ein Geschenk.
Okay, dann machen wir es so. 4 Euro zurück bei dir. Danke dir. Genau, das ist so eine Chenilwolle. Das ist schon so flauschig, genau. Dankeschön. Dankeschön. Das ist gehäkelt. Das ist sozusagen eine Häkelnadel. Und mit der macht man im Endeffekt wie so Knoten eigentlich mit der Wolle. Und dadurch, dass sich das dann so verknotet, baut sich das so langsam auf. Und dann geht man immer im Kreis lang. Das wird so eine kleine Biene. Das ist im Kreis wieder. Geht immer weiter hinter. Dann kommen die Augen rein. Und dann kommt noch eine Füllung rein. Ja. Dankeschön. Ciao.
It's now 2:30 and we are almost sold out of plushies. I will insert some footage of my table. I keep rearranging it to make it look a little fuller, but it's crazy. It's now 4:30 and I'm finally getting the time to check in with you again. It has been insanely busy. It's slightly less busy now, but still a lot of people. And almost out of plushies, out of bags. I can't record my sales anymore because it's just too many. So crazy. Okay, friends, so it's now Tuesday. I'm obviously back from the market, and if you've been to my channel before, you probably know that I like to do a little bit of a market recap after my market vlogs, just to give you a little review of the market, some of the stories that happened, my bestsellers at the market, and answering the question if I would go back to the same market and of course the grand total of everything that I sold. I do that just so you can take away something for your markets if you have any coming up, to find out what my bestsellers are so you can try and make them for your markets. And just in general, I know that a lot of people are interested in that type of stuff, so I like to be very detailed with my breakdown. Okay, so first of all, this market happened on April 6th, and the market hours were from 10 to 6, so quite a long market, but a lot of my markets are actually that time span, so quite a regular market for me. It's like a small town festival type of market where a lot of the shops are open on Sunday, and they kind of lock down the whole like inner part of the city, and the vendors are just like out on the street, like in the city center. And that is what I do for a lot of my markets, because the booth fees for those types of markets tend to be pretty cheap. For this market, I paid 22 euros and 50 cents, so quite a low booth fee, which means it is a very low financial risk for me to attend markets like that, because after a couple of sales, you're pretty much guaranteed to make your booth fee back and quite a good profit from those markets. I had actually been to this market before. I was there for the first time last year in October. I will actually link that video at the end of this video if you haven't seen that one already, because I also vlogged that video. So I had been to that market before, and I kind of knew that this was going to be a pretty good market for me, because last time I actually ended up almost selling out of my stuff. That was when I still only had plushies though, so I didn't know how my wristlets, my scrunchies, and my candles would do at this market, because the last time I was there, I was only selling plushies. So that was kind of a new experience for me. So the market started at 10, but my boyfriend and I got there at around 9 to set up, because we had been to this market before. I kind of knew where like the whole market was happening. So if I've been to a market before, I usually try to arrive like an hour or so before the market starts, because if my boyfriend comes with me and is helping me, we can get set up pretty quickly. So I knew that 1 hour would be more than enough time for us to figure out everything and set everything up with enough spare time until the market started. So for this market, you don't get a booth layout beforehand. You kind of arrive at the market and they tell you where your spot is. Like right there, you don't know beforehand. And I actually ended up having a different spot this time than I had last time. So I didn't know how like different spots throughout the market would be like, if like that would have a different turnout than last time. So we got set up on the spot that we were told to. And actually when we arrived at 9, a lot of the other vendors had already set up completely, and the first people started walking around, which was kind of stressful in the beginning, but there was not a lot of people, and I would rather get set up just in time than be there like 2 hours early and have to wait for a long time for the market to actually start. So I think that arriving at 9 is the perfect time for us to get set up in time for this market. So I would actually do that again next time. Overall, we kind of ended up doing the same market setup that we did last time. So kind of an L shape where the plushies are in the front of the booth and the candles are just to the side of the booth, because that ended up working out pretty well last time. So I kind of wanted to do it the same time again this time. I ended up forgetting a couple of my display pieces at home, so we kind of had to improvise on the spot with the display pieces that we had brought, but it ended up turning out pretty good, I think, personally, so I was pretty happy with the setup this time. So then the market started and it kind of was busy right from the start, which always feels great. So I started having the first sales at around 10, which I think I took you guys along for pretty well in the beginning. And I actually recorded all of my sales up until like 2. But then it got so busy that I didn't even have the time to write down all of my sales, because I was just like go, go, go the whole time, because I had sales after sales after sales. And one thing that I'm currently learning with my candles is that actually like the packing process for the candles takes up a little bit of time. So for the plushies, you usually just hand them to the customer or put them into a bag if they want a bag. But for the candles, you kind of have to wrap them up, which always takes a bit of time to do. So I was actually super busy from like 2 till like 4. That was when the super busy time was at this market. So I was just like wrapping up candles and selling everything for 2 hours straight. So that was kind of a crazy experience to like be nonstop selling for 2 hours. And as I said, during the market, when I was checking in, I was selling out of plushies starting at like 2. I actually sold out of my chicks before noon. So in the first 2 hours of my market, I ended up selling all of my chicks. And let's get actually into some of the best sellers of this market. So I actually can't really do that because I sold out of so many different plushies. So let me actually, you can kind of see my bin back there, and this one was filled to the brim before, and let me actually get that out and we can kind of go through what didn't sell, because that makes more sense than to tell you what sold this time, because I sold out of so many items. Okay, so here is the bin with everything that is left after this market. So we ended up selling quite a lot of plushies. I can't tell you the exact number because I didn't do inventory before, which I am kind of sad about because I would have loved to know how many items I sold exactly, which I now can't really do. But let me show you instead a couple of things that are left in here right now. So out of all of my mini plushies, I only have a couple of octopi left. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 of them left. And I think I had around like 32 or something like that. So we sold kind of a lot of those. I sold all out of mini chicks with hats. I sold out of popping mushrooms. I sold out of bees, bee chains, so mini bees on keychains, baby whales. All of the other types of mini items are completely sold out, and these are the only ones that are left. Then I actually only sold one of my sheep, which is my own pattern that is already out at the time that you're watching this video. So I sold one of those and one is left. I still have my popping flower that I recently made because I was very inspired to make some new patterns. So this one didn't sell, so I don't really know still how I feel about this one. I'm not sure. Then I sold all but 2 of my turtles, and I believe I had around 10 or so. So we sold quite a lot of those. I sold one of my big bears, so we only have one of the triplets left. So I made 3 of those during the winter season, and he's the only one that's left. I feel kind of bad for him because his 2 siblings already got adopted, so I'm hoping that he will find a home during my next couple of markets. But also I'm kind of glad that I still have one of them left because they are kind of my centerpiece for my booth. So I really need to stock up on at least 1 or 2 like bigger plushies again, because otherwise I feel like my booth looks kind of empty, because they were sitting on top of my cash box, or like the box that holds my cash box and bags and stuff like that, because I really like to display a couple of bigger pieces on there. So I need to make another plushie that is at least his size for my next market. Then the only other 2 types of plushies that are left are cats, which I made a ton of last week at my last week's market. So I still have a couple of them left. We actually have 5 left. And I believe I only have some of these left because I had quite a lot of them, because I prepped 7 of those at my last market, and I think that I had like 7 more left over. And now we're left with only 5 of them and only 2 colors. These were the colors that I prepped last weekend at my last weekend's market. So we have to restock a lot of cats because they tend to sell pretty well. And then the only other type of plushie that is left are my chicken. I actually have a good amount of those left because they actually don't sell all that well for me. So I usually make a lot of them like when I feel motivated to make chicken, and then I kind of have them in stock for a couple of months. So I'm actually kind of glad that I have a couple of them left over. We have almost all colors except for the brown chickens because I'm all sold out of those. But we have 3 white chickens left, 2 gray speckle, 3 rose speckle, and 2 in this beige speckle. So that means that's like 16? 16? Am I tripping? No, that's 10. That's 10. So we have 10 chickens left currently, which I am kind of glad about. So I don't have to make them for a little while, especially since my next market will be after Easter. And I think that they won't be more popular after Easter than they were right now. So kind of glad I have a couple of those left. Okay, so I definitely sold a ton of plushies, but how did my other types of products do? So first of all, I also sell wristlets in my booth, and I actually ended up selling 5 of those, which is pretty good for me. I usually don't sell a ton of those. I sell between like 3 to 5 at each market, so 5 is pretty good for a smaller market like that. They were super popular before Christmas, but for these spring markets, I'm super happy with selling 5 of those. Then next up, I also sold 3 of my scrunchies, which I brought to the market for the first time this week. So I'm pretty glad that I actually ended up selling a couple of them. So I will definitely keep bringing those to my markets in the future. I don't expect them to be bestsellers anytime soon. They're just kind of like filler, small items that people can pick up easily and add to the order, for example. So pretty glad that I took them. I was debating if I should even bring them or not, but we ended up selling 3 of them, which is pretty good. And then for my candles, I'm actually so blown away how positive people have been reacting to my candles at my markets. Last weekend, I ended up selling quite a few of them, and this weekend was even better. So I am super excited about having these candles in my booth. I sold so many of those this weekend. So let's get into some of the numbers for those, because those I actually recorded. So I will try and put pictures up on the screen for you to see what candles I'm talking about, because I have some special shaped candles in my inventory. So I will put some pictures up for you. But first, let's talk about the candles in the regular vessels. So I ended up selling 7 of my big candles, which is pretty great, and also 7 of my small candles, which is kind of surprising because I thought that the small candles would be way more popular than the big candles, but it turns out they're actually kind of even. So I actually need to order some fragrance oil and start restocking some of my candles, because some of the scents are really popular and some of the scents are not getting picked up. So I'm thinking about switching out some of them and just testing out the water and keep trying out what people like, what scents people like. So selling 7 and 7 is pretty good. And then for my special shaped candles, I ended up selling 2 of my cacti candles, which means I need to get a new mold for that, because I actually ended up breaking my mold the last time I was making these vessels. So I only have 2 more of these in my inventory, and I can't make any more of them right now. So I definitely need to order that. Then for my mushroom candles, I also ended up selling 2 of them, which I'm pretty excited about. And then for my heart-shaped candles, they were super popular. So I ended up selling 5 out of 7 for those, which is pretty great. So I will definitely need to restock those as well. But since we're already kind of talking about numbers, let's actually break down this market right now. And I will give you the grand total of everything that sold. So for my candles, I actually ended up making 366 euros on candles, which is pretty great because they are a higher startup cost. So I'm still trying to break even for those. So I am one step closer to achieving that after this market. For my wristlets, as I said before, I sold 5 of them. I sell them for 8 euros each. So I made 40 euros in wristlets. And then for my scrunchies, I sold 3 of, which I told you before, and I sell them for 5 euros each. So I made 15 euros in scrunchies. Let me actually go ahead and give you the thing that you are probably waiting for, which is the grand total of everything that sold at the market. So first of all, in cart, I ended up taking 357 euros, which is quite a lot. And then in cash, I ended up taking quite a lot more. So I ended up taking 1,110 euros in cash, which means that in total, I ended up taking 1,467 euros, which means that this market has been my most profitable and best market ever. It was more profitable and better than the Christmas markets. Of course, this market was only 1 day, and some of the markets that I did before Christmas were 3 days. But for like looking at a 1 day event, this was my best market ever, my best market to date. So I couldn't be happier, and I can't wait to go back to this market. I actually ended up signing up for all 4 of those markets that are happening in this town for this year, because I knew after last year I wanted to go back to this market. So I will be back right there on June 1st. So I definitely need to prep quite a lot until then, because I also have 2 more markets before that, one of which is quite big and a 2-day market event. So I need to prep so much in the near future. But for now, I am super grateful that you stayed to watch this market vlog all the way until the end. And I will see you guys again next week for another video. So until then, bye!